watching X-Men Evolution because 97 is gone. Part 4. If you're new here, that's just my fun way of saying killing time till season 2. Okay, so picking up on the second half of this season, we're gonna start with episode 10 where Jean is having nightmares about killer clowns from outer space apparently, and then gets abducted before the opening credits. She gets brainwashed, ends up stealing an artifact, steals Nightcrawler, steals Spike and Kitty, they steal more stuff. It turns out they've been swiping ancient artifacts for some circus freak named Mesmero. They go to the circus, confront him, snap everyone out of it, but he escapes. You would think almost halfway through the season none of this is making any sense, until you get to the end of this episode where Mesmero takes all these artifacts to the Tomb of Apocalypse. I know he appears in the show later on, but I like that they did the work of setting it up this early. Moving on to episode 11. By the way, we're going to be here for a while because there's a lot going on in this one. First off, Forge is back, thankfully with a more modern look. He ends up creating this device that basically lets Nightcrawler slow down his teleportation so he can stay in like the world between worlds much longer. And teleport farther. And apparently that in-between world has demon dinosaurs or something in it, and everywhere Nightcrawler goes creates a new portal for them to come through. We'll come back to that part later because now it's time for the school dance. And everyone needs a date, which means it's time to either panic or pretend you don't want to go. Duncan wants to go with Jean, Jean wants to go with Scott, but Scott gets snaked away by Taryn.
Hey Scott, here she comes.
Hi Scott, will you go to the dance with me?
And while all this is happening, Rogue is just watching from the rafters, not even trying to put a bid in. And in case you thought that was innocent, it wasn't. That was completely done on purpose. Watch.
Hi Jean. Hi. She's so jealous of you. Yeah, but it's her own fault. She's had plenty of chances at Scott.
And now we will take a gander at the comedic stylings of the poet known as Chris Rock.
If a guy introduces his boy to his new girlfriend, when they walk away, his boy goes, "Oh man, she's nice. I gotta get me a girl like that." If a woman introduces her new man to her girlfriend, when they walk away, her girlfriend goes, "I gotta get him. And I will slit that bitch's throat to do it."
Kurt, however, actually manages to snag a date with a girl in his class. Meanwhile, at the Brotherhood house, they're making fun of Lance for going with Kitty when in reality, they all want to go. Also, Blob is bald in this episode, and they just gave zero explanation for why that is.
Pathetic.
Hey, Speedy. You think you're too good for me?
Nah, you just couldn't keep up with me. I mean, I can keep 4 girls busy dancing at the same time.
Crazy part? He ain't lying either. Before the dance, Forge sends Nightcrawler and Wolverine to the demon dimension again where they almost get eaten alive, and after barely escaping, ask them to go back a third time. This is the same person who was just trapped in a whole other dimension for 20 years by his own invention. Forge being hard-headed in every reality must be his canon event. All the portals open at once, the creatures come through and ruin the dance, they manage to zap the dinos back to their dimension, and the day is saved. So I've made mentions before in this show about how these kids just openly use their powers when they're not supposed to. Well, now there's consequences for that. Because that girl Kurt took to the dance actually knows his secret and knows who he is and what he can do. And what he really looks like. Season 1, episode 10, when Kurt had that hissy fit in the hallway about Rogue having Mystique's memories. Yeah, turns out Amanda here saw all of that and has been clocking this blue boy for months. Thankfully, she has a crush on him, so this all works out, but now it raises the question of who else is possibly exposed. We're still not fully sure if Principal Kelly even got his mind wiped when everyone got outed earlier this season. 12, this episode kind of feels reminiscent of episode 5 and 6 in season 5 of the OG show with Hank and Kitty taking the newbies on this adventure in the wilderness. Beast is basically trying to get a handle on his feral side, and Xavier thinks sending him into the woods with a bunch of teenagers is the best idea. But unfortunately and coincidentally, they end up in the woods at the same time as some Bigfoot fanatics. They kidnap Hank, Hank gets saved by bad weather and car crashes, Hank and the kids save the hunters from the bad weather, and everyone's better for it. Episode 13, the girls have basically had it with the guys. Boom Boom is terrorizing the Brotherhood house, bothering Toad during his monthly shower, shaving Blob bald, and stealing Avalanche's car. And after punking Scott out his own car, Jean goes chasing after Boom Boom, who's now joyriding with the new X-Men Amara. All 3 of them run into some carjackers and manage to put a stop to it. Then we cut to this musical montage of the girls basically bonding over this and going out on more escapades. And I know everyone knows that one dance scene from the show with Rogue and Kitty, which I know is a Buffy the Vampire Slayer reference. But then the budget takes a huge skyrocket during this because there's numerous scenes of that caliber in here. The animation gets another upgrade and gets real fluid for the next few minutes. And as this goes on, more of the girls end up joining in on all the fun. They end up recruiting Kitty and even end up getting Rogue recruited into the mix. I know animators are in a rough place right now, but please understand, every time y'all get a chance to break out and do something like this, that there are people out there who do genuinely appreciate it. And as they continue crushing car thieves, this group ends up being known as the Bayville Sirens. In the background of this montage, watching it all go down, is Mystique McHater. Because teenage girls having fun is against her moral code, I guess, explains why she became a principal. Turns out all the carjackings the Sirens have been stopping are part of a chop shop operation. They end up at the secret base, stop the bad guys, but get busted by a cop who lets them go. Turns out, of course, the cop is Mystique. So either she really cares about these girls and doesn't want to see them hurt, or just wanted to stop their fun. I still don't really know. Either one works for her. Sidebar, per Blob's haircut, this episode actually takes place before the last two episodes. And something that ain't talked about a lot, but I notice often when re-binging a lot of these old series, is that a lot of these TV shows that get uploaded to streaming are listed in airing order, not chronological order. So basically, whenever the networks would goof and air something on the wrong date, that episode is now locked into that slot forever. Hence why King of the Hill has like a bunch of random episodes listed on Hulu after the finale. Also why a lot of us like watching shows on Adult Swim over Fox, because they seem to be the only ones who would ever ask, what order are these supposed to be in? Because that's what we're going to go with. And the only place this ever seems to get permanently corrected is on the DVDs. Physical media matters. Also, kind of sad to see that the girls were getting along so well because they were so sick of the guys, and then went right back to being cutthroat 2 episodes later when it was time for everybody to get a date. 14. Wolverine gets chased down by Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. because stopping by the house was too subtle an approach, I guess. Turns out Magneto stole an old lab experiment that Cap and Wolverine destroyed back in World War II, or so they thought. And the only reason he even knows about it in the first place is because one of the people that Cap and Wolverine saved from an old concentration camp was a teenage Magneto. So in this show, the super soldier serum is actually not complete and causes cellular breakdown, so Captain America is now operating on borrowed time, it turns out. And they put him on ice to basically keep him from dying until they find a cure. They get to Magneto's, find him looking like his live-action counterpart. Turns out he's been playing with his genes for years on some Ra's al Ghul Lazarus Pit nonsense, instead of just aging gracefully like Charles, and now is catching up with him. Pulls a King Piccolo, gets his youth back, and almost kills the team, but then he lets them go because he knows it was Logan who saved his life.
There was a small boy in Poland who owes you that much.
15. Mystique is back to abuse the Brotherhood boys after being gone all season.
You pathetic lazy clods have destroyed my house.
Man, we are 2 seasons in and there's not been a single frame of animation where this house has been clean, even when you lived here.
What happened to the team of tough mutants I assembled?
I don't know, maybe because their legal guardian abandoned them and couldn't even put the bills on autopay so they could live comfortably?
Worse, one of you even tried joining them.
And you've been running around with Rogue all semester, so what's your point? On top of that, this woman shows up with a freshly broken out of prison Wanda Maximoff and Agatha Harkness as her handler. I'm curious if this role reversal is something we're about to see very soon. The Brotherhood breaks into the mall, the X-Men show up, but of course, it's a trap. Wanda pulls up looking like the 4th member of the Hex Girls and then proceeds to hand the entire team their ass. Oh no, there's no happy ending to this. The X-Men take their L and their egos are all royally bruised. Roll credits.
If you don't get that bullshit out of my face, bitch.
Episode 16-17, time for the 2-part finale, and honestly the only episodes I actually remember from this season growing up. So Magneto kidnaps Wolverine, or at least that's who's getting the blame for it, and then the peaceful professor facade is just gone and Xavier is losing it. He just started snapping on the kids because he thinks his old bestie's on the loose.
It's clear that none of you are ready to face Magneto.
I disagree.
Do you? You couldn't even take care of the Brotherhood.
And guess who he invites into the house 3 sentences later? So that pep talk at the end of last episode was just you blowing smoke, huh? No wonder they wasn't trying to hear none of that. And Blob is bald again for the first half of this finale, but not the second half, and I don't know what's going on with any of that anymore. Anywho, we meet Wolverine's captor.
Okay, Bub. What did mutants ever do to you? You are a threat. A menace. You poison our gene pool and upset the natural balance of power.
And with how fast that racism came out, this is clearly Bolivar Trask. Underground basement lab and an X-Men show can only mean one thing. Apparently the asteroid M-Orb still worked because Magneto pulls up with Sabretooth and now Pyro, Colossus, and Gambit. The X-Men and the Brotherhood face off against Magneto's new mutants. Well, everyone except Rogue and Gambit, who are off somewhere doing this. Next part is where I really started having flashbacks, because I remember growing up, this was my favorite episode, a team up between the good guys and the bad guys, because Magneto ends up caving in the ground with everybody in it. They fall right into Trask's lair. He unleashes the Sentinel, and then Magneto brings them all to the surface to basically show the world, hey, mutants live in the shadows, and there are still people trying to build things like this to eradicate us. So now it's everybody versus the Sentinel, and just like the first season's finale of the original show, it's Professor X and Magneto who end up bringing it down. Wanda, I know you got your daddy issues, girl, but maybe aim at the thing that's trying to shoot both of y'all, not the person trying to help. Some people get captured and don't escape. The mutants gotta bail and go home, only they have no home to go to because just like in every other X-Men property, somebody blew it up. So while they were out battling and doing the whole Sentinel debacle, turns out somebody set the house to actually self-destruct. Good thing only like 12 people lived there apparently. So Scott got everyone out to safety. And then it turns out the person who did all this was Charles, who turns out this whole finale has been Mystique. Overall, this second season was the longest, but no episode of it was wasted. They fleshed out these relationships, setups upon setups upon setups. Some we're seeing play out now, some like Apocalypse, which we're definitely going to see play out later. Mutants are exposed, people are kidnapped, the professor is missing, and then just leaving us on this cliffhanger. And all while balancing the aspect of trying to have a normal teenage life while having mutant abilities. Now's the part where I start plugging. Podcast channel. This Friday, it'll be a premiere so you can watch it with us. We will be airing our 4th interview with the legend Phil Lamar himself. Y'all know Samurai Jack, Static Shock, Green Lantern, Futurama. Come through, it'll be a fun time. And of course, this is my personal channel. Almost at 2,000 subs. Just did a video for Sonic Adventures 25th on the Dreamcast. New chapter of the Anime Convention Survival Guide just dropped. Of course, the X-Men rewatches. And you know I had to do a reaction to the new movie trailer. And again, I do have a playlist for this on my channel where I've been doing all these rewatches. I already did the original series before Evolution. If any of you want to try to keep up with me on this binge, next week I will be doing the first 7 episodes of season 3. But that's all for now. If you made it to this point in the video, once again, like I say every week, thank y'all so much for watching and thank y'all for supporting this weekly series. Being that we're at the halfway point and only got 4 more of these to go, I do want to start getting some X-Men merch to wear during these videos, but pockets are taking a pounding at the moment, so I digress. But that ain't y'all concern. I'm gonna make it do what it do. But for now, that's all. I hope you all have an amazing rest of your week. And see y'all next X-Men Evolution Wednesday.